Jefferson County 911.
Yes, I am a teacher at Columbine High School. There is a student here with a gun. He has shot out a window.
Come all too familiar. Students evacuating with their hands up.
We want to head over back to Matt Gutman there, who's on the ground in Las Vegas near the area where this haul happened. Matt?
What finally happened was the gunfire stopped.
What's this? That's what it's all about today.
The public controversy of gun control has repeatedly been pulled into the light, but it has always seemed to evade a common consensus as to how we need to approach this issue, thus cementing it as one of the most prominent controversies in the United States. In order to understand the controversy that is gun control, we need to reflect on its history and identify the root of the controversy, the root being the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The interpretation of this amendment in and of itself has been controversial. Some believe that the right to bear arms is specifically granted to those who take part in a militia, while others choose to believe that the right to bear arms is generalized and thus granted to all citizens. When the Second Amendment was written, the memory of a tyrannical leader was fresh in the minds of the framers. They intended to keep the people readily armed should an enemy arise. This claim that the people needed to be prepared to defend themselves against an enemy, possibly foreign or domestic, is a common argument that gun rights activists use when defending the claim that American citizens should be able to own assault-style weapons. Those that support gun control, however, cite the fact that assault-style weapons have repeatedly made headlines for their roles in various mass shootings over the years. They also acknowledge that the Constitution wasn't intended to be the final law of the land, and that the Constitution was intended to be amended as needed.
Nearly every major reform to U.S. gun laws has come on the heels of a mass shooting, from Columbine to John F. Kennedy. America's most terrifying shootings have been the catalyst for the country's most sweeping reforms. Google search trends show a spike in gun control searches after many mass shootings, including Sandy Hook, Las Vegas, Parkland, and Charleston. But before Google was a resource, the St. Valentine's Day massacre inspired a large tax on automated weapons. However, some survivors do wish for less gun control, so someone would have fired back, such as after the Vegas shooting, while others push for more control, like after the Sandy Hook shooting. Social media has become a platform to advocate both for and against additional gun control. Those both for and against gun control use various platforms to share their opinions. Those for additional gun control often share shocking visuals, such as this back-to-school commercial.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class. These colored pencils, too.
I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
This following commercial was not allowed to air during the Super Bowl.
My family's safety is my highest priority. I am responsible for their protection. And no one has the right to tell me how to defend them.
Both sides also create petitions and share facts supporting their argument, yet these social media campaigns often fade after a few weeks until the next tragedy. Nevertheless, these events have inspired new gun legislation.
13, shot in the head during an assassination attempt, former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords has become an icon of the gun control movement. Shortly after the Newtown massacre, Giffords made a plea to the Senate Judiciary Committee to consider stricter gun laws. Since speaking and writing are still difficult for Giffords a year after her near-fatal brain injury, her speech therapist prepared the statement. Photo of this handwriting speaking notes went viral on Facebook as a symbol of all that Giffords has been through. Speaking is difficult, but I need to say something, Giffords said in her speech. Gun violence is a big problem. Too many people are dying, too many children. We must do something. The note and testimony were well received online. Americans for Responsible Solutions was created in early 2013 by Gayfors and Kelly in response to the tragic Newtown shootings in December. Major part of its efforts has been on Facebook, and since the page's creation early that month, it had gained more than 40,000 fans. Gayfors really made a huge contribution to Americans' gun control movement.
Days of pain and uncertain recovery. But confronted by despair, I've summoned hope. Confronted by paralysis and aphasia, I responded with grit and determination. I put one foot in front of the other. I found one word and then I found another. My recovery is a daily fight, but fighting makes me stronger. Words once came easily, today I struggle to speak. But I have not lost my voice. America needs all of us to speak out, even when you have to fight to find the words.
From the birth of our country to over 140 years later, any type of firearm was completely unregulated. From Gatling guns in the Wild West to full-fledged machine guns brought back from the First World War, there was no laws regulating the sale or ownership of guns. The state had actually given out letters of marque which permitted private ownership of warships and even piracy. The first major legislative barrier to reach the Second Amendment came in 1934 with the implementation of the National Firearms Act. The NFA was intended to disrupt gang activity following the Valentine's Day Massacre and implemented a $200 tax stamp, which is almost $4,000 in today's worth, for items regulated under the Act, such as machine guns, suppressors, and short-barreled rifles. Next came the Federal Firearms Act of 1938, which required importers, manufacturers, and dealers to obtain a federal firearms license. This was then updated after the assassinations of the Kennedys, as well as the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. The Gun Control Act of 1968 prohibits felons, the mentally ill, as well as other designated people from owning weapons. It also updated the NFA's language of destructive devices. Another major change brought with the Gun Control Act in 1968 was the age to purchase handguns was bumped up to 21. In 1986, Ronald Reagan signed the Firearm Owner Protection Act, which struck down a national registry of gun owners but did add in the Hughes Amendment, which essentially made the private ownership and transfer of machine guns illegal. The National Instant Check System, or NICS, was established in 1993 under the Brady Act. This required that a background check be completed and approved with any firearm purchase from an FFL. The following year, in 1994, Bill Clinton signed the country's first assault weapons ban, titled the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act. This banned the importation and manufacture on new assault weapons, although ones already possessed were grandfathered in. This act stayed in place until 10 years later, in 2004.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. 3 things that we as Americans strive to accomplish and embody. I come to you from West Nickel Mines, PA, the site of a school shooting that occurred almost 14 years ago. The shooting occurred across the street, in a lot that now lays vacant. The lot contains 5 trees along the far fence post, the 5 trees representing the 5 lives that were lost on that fateful day. It are tragedies like this that bring awareness to an issue that has divided our country for many years and probably will for many to come. There are individuals that believe that guns threaten attributes of American life, being life itself, while others believe that gun control threatens American life in a different way, by threatening our liberty. Some also believe that guns can protect our lives by defending us from those who seek to do harm. After all, if a teacher or nearby bystander would have been armed, wouldn't there have been the possibility that more lives could have been saved? In a cycle that shows no immediate signs of stopping, gun control has and will continue to be a prominent issue in American life for years to come. Coming to you from West Nickel Mines, PA, Merry Christmas and God bless America.